Hello and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. It's episode 211, and my name is Patrick Knisley.
My name is David Howe, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest returning to the show for God knows how many times. The wonderful Summer Rain has joined us once again on the show. How you doing, Summer?
Doing good, David. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course.
That's right, Summer is here, and we're going to be talking about what's going on with Nintendo. Is there going to be a Direct in June? Probably not, maybe. What's going on with the rest of 2023? We don't have a lot of information, but they've been doing some announcements, like we'll talk about in the news, such as a game called Everybody 1-2 Switch. And they've been giving us some more information about this Nintendo Live event in September. We're hearing now all these, normal big summertime showcases are getting announced, like the Xbox One and the Summer Game Fest stuff is ramping up. So, we're going to be talking about all that in the news and plenty more. But before we get into any of the video game stuff, how are we doing? David, we got to start with you. Everybody, You're here. We thought you might not be here.
Yeah, it was unclear on whether or not I would make today's episode, so I had to fly. Ooh, I think I just caught it.
Oh, I watched you catch that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Live on camera.
Terrible time to have flies is when you have an open head injury. Pretty annoying. They're waiting for me to die so they can eat my carcass. But I'm doing okay. I'm here. I wasn't sure either if I would be up to it. But to be honest, the last couple days of recovery after my surgery have been pretty boring. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to want to do the show. So I might be a little bit lower energy, but doing the best I can. I got my my cancer cap on right now for the video viewers. Basically, I've got, just to give you guys an update on where I'm at. Told you guys before we started, but I've got the wound on my head where they cut it open is way bigger than I anticipated. It is really shocking to look at. I gave you guys a sneak peek. I'm not going to make the viewers of this podcast watch it right now.
The video might get flagged.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty intense. I've also got a big chunk of the back of my head shaved, so my dad's been calling me Friar Frankenstein. I very much look like a monk that had some strange procedure done to him. And then, I will be able to show, I got over here a little bit of a neck injury as well. This is where they took out some of my lymph nodes. So I mean, the hope now is that if this pathology comes back on the lymph nodes and that's negative, and there's nothing else in the margin around the melanoma that they removed on the top of my head, then I should be good, right? And I should be cancer free. So that's the hope. Cross those fingers, not have them side by side. And but other than that, it's been kind of a weird recovery so far. It definitely feels like my head is split in two, which it is. But that's the pain. A lot of the pain has gone away. I'm up and moving. I did a little walk today. I went and saw Spider-Verse last night, Across the Spider-Verse. Incredible movie. Absolutely go see that while it's still in theaters. Probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. Really, really good shit. And so that's what's been going on with me. Thank you for asking. What about you, Patrick? How are you doing this past week?
Oh, I can't complain about anything after you. I'm tired. No, things are fine. I was telling Summer before we started that I'm doing good right now. I'm feeling really good right now. Yesterday, I was feeling I'm doing a lot of little things to try and make money, which is great. And I'm feeling very pulled in lots of different directions right now. And I'm not doing any of them well, or I'm not as available as any of these people want, because I'm trying to navigate all of them because they're, But anyway, I'm feeling good right now, actually. I was feeling that way yesterday, but now I'm feeling a little better because a couple of things have been going well. So
nice.
I can't complain.
Nice.
I probably can't do everything at once is the thing. I was talking to my wife about it, and she's like, well, you're just going to have to, you can't do all those things. And I'm like,
yeah,
all right.
Probably.
Or if I, I got to set something aside and figure out something will pan out and I can drop the others. But anyway,
just make a little clone of yourself. You can do lots at the same time. I did that earlier. Yeah.
But otherwise I'm doing fine. Summer, how are you?
I'm good. I was also telling you, Patrick, before we started. So yeah, emotionally, I'm awesome. But longtime listeners of the podcast may notice that I'm a little raspy tonight. I just got back from ACON in Irving, Texas this past weekend. It is the longest running anime convention here in the United States. And when I go to these things, I do a lot of hooting and hollering. So my voice is still on the mend from that. And just like in general, I think I'm physically just catching up a little bit because 2 weeks ago I went up north to Anime Central, which biggest anime con back up in the, Midwest, and then to get back and then prepare for this one down here. So lots of fun, got to do lots of, fandom shenanigans, hosted like a big Pokemon and Fire Emblem, game show style entertainment. Those are the things that I love to do when I go to these things. But now we're recovering.
Oh yeah. So you rocking the Haya Papaya fit. That was looking pretty good.
Yeah. I was able to wear my completed Yunaka from Fire Emblem Engage cosplay, both at Anime Central and at ACON. And specifically at ACON, they did have a official cosplay pool party. So I thought it would be fun and not too difficult. I was proven wrong. I do not recommend it to anyone, but if you really want to know how to do it, I can tell you. I made the original swimsuit that you would the first swimsuit that you unlock in Fire Emblem Engage. I made Yunaka's version of it.
Oh yeah.
Thinking that, this would be like not a hard swimsuit to tackle. I had to make inverse mitered corners with a stretch fabric. I don't recommend doing that to anyone.
Oh, I do that all the time. It's no big.
But it looked good, and that's what matters, right? Turned out.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of people. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, our last episode was about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, a little bit of a deeper dive, as we called it. And we got some great comments. Swampy Southpaw said, because we also talked about the future of Zelda, said they'd like more classic Zeldas in between open world ones. I think that was a sentiment shared by a lot of people. Over on our Discord, we had a conversation about Link's Awakening in particular. I don't know Jack either. Cool Uncle Vince and Hans Gauger were talking about that. And then in our shout outs last week, we mentioned a Carrie. And so our friend Carosetta said there's two Carries. But they're spelled very differently, Carrie and Carrie. So no confusion.
Crisis averted.
No confusion on my end.
Yeah.
Other Dylan made a comment about Nintendo taking down Dolphin because their engineers are learning too much from trolling the code for their in-house emulators. And then over on our YouTube, Kevin Breedlove commented, I think we made an offhand comment about the Wii U being unpopular, and Kevin thinks that was an understatement, but that they thoroughly enjoyed their time with it, and in particular, the hours they spent on Nintendo Land.
Yeah, same. I mean, I played Breath of the Wild in full on the Wii U. Before I ever got a Switch, I played it on there, and yeah, it was very similar to my experience of playing Tears of the Kingdom now, where it's just like kind of all I did for about 2 weeks straight.
Yep.
Yeah, those are good times. I miss the Wii U.
I do too, because that's how we got the first Splatoon, and that was,
yeah, for sure.
That was my Wii U was a Splatoon machine when it first came out, and that was all I did for the 2 weeks after that came out.
Yeah, it was like Smash, Splatoon, and Breath of the Wild for me. A lot of us playing on that. Mario Kart as well. But
yeah.
And hey, real quick before we move on from Tears of the Kingdom, this is like a anecdote I've wanted to say for the last couple episodes, but I keep forgetting to bring it up. I went on a little hike like a couple weeks ago to Mount Bunnell in Austin, which is kind of like the highest peak in Austin. You can kind of overlook, not like it's a huge mountain or anything, but it's got a nice view of like Travis, and you can watch the sunset and all that. And this was right after mainlining about 40 hours of Tears of the Kingdom, and I just kept having the Tetris effect of walking up there. And just like when I got to the top of the peak and I was looking over the way, I kept wanting to zoom in my scope and mark points on the map with markers. And I kept wanting to like there'd be like a rock that was like on its side, and I wanted to like pick it up and move it around with my Ultra Hand and shit. I don't know if that has been happening to you guys, but
it was like shortly after Zelda had come out, and just driving around the neighborhood before Big Trash Day, I saw 4 wooden posts on the side of the street, all next to each other, and my brain was immediately like, "Oh, giant hand, grab it!" And
Yeah.
and I was
I could make a
"No,
little
you can't
domicile out of that.
do that in real life." But that was all. So that's what when I see wood on the side of the road. That's what my brain is thinking.
Yeah. Tears of the Kingdom brain is real. Yeah.
I think I want to cosplay Addison.
Yes, you should.
Carry that sign around, and have people that help me make it stand up.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
All right. Well, if you too want to be shouted out on the next week's episode, definitely send us a message about anything we talk about. We also appreciate it if you would review the podcast on like Apple or some such place, share it with your friends, and definitely head over to the YouTube and hit the like and subscribe buttons.
Yes, please.
And we're going to talk about the Nintendo and gaming news now. So first up, Nintendo has announced pastel colored Joy-Cons.
I'm obsessed.
There's a purple, a green, a pink, and a yellow, and they're pastel. And they say, their press release or whatever says, kick off a stylish summer with new pastel Joy-Con controllers. They come in June 30th. Do you think, I'm guessing that it's going to be the purple and green and the pink and the yellow, is the combo? Because that's kind of the way the picture is. I don't know that we know that yet. I don't know if there's been box releases.
Are there ones that are specific for left Joy-Con and right Joy-Con, or can you get all the colors in all sides?
Again, I don't know.
According to their website, it's worded this way, which makes me think they are being sold as sets and only specific to certain sides. So includes 1 pastel pink Joy-Con parentheses L, 1 pastel yellow Joy-Con parentheses R, and 2 black Joy-Con wrist straps, or 1 pastel purple Joy-Con L, 1 pastel green Joy-Con R, and 2 black Joy-Con wrist straps. So the way that it's worded, they're only going to be sold as sets. I know I really wish they were sold individually.
Individually, and you could pick which sides, because it'd be cool to have 2 pinks.
I would love to do, right? Or I like the purple and the pink is what I would really want, but both of those are left. I will probably still pick up a set. I'm not undecided which set I want, but ever since getting my OLED, I don't know, I haven't wanted to switch from the white, but this almost seems appropriate to be the swap from the OLED because of it being pastel, right?
Sure, yeah.
As opposed to the bright color Joy-Cons.
I was honestly a little confused when I saw these. I thought they already existed, but that's because my sister has pastel Joy-Cons in these colors already. But I think she got them. Yeah, I think she got them reshelled on Etsy. So it was so I don't know if they saw those makers making stuff, because these are the exact same colors that she has. But yeah. But yeah, it's cool to have more official Joy-Con colors. These are very cute. It's a little weird they're coming in summer. These seem like very Easter colors to me. Yeah, they seem like spring colors.
Too. I'm they're not coming in until the end of this month.
But
summer will technically have started by then.
Right. Probably spacing them out a little bit from the Tears of the Kingdom Joy-Cons that came out.
I guess
keeping a steady cadence or whatever. But it's nice to see more variety. Be cool to see some of these out in the wild.
Yeah, whatever, but I do wish you could get whatever color you wanted on whatever side. And just buy individual, or make me buy 2. Let me order online and pick my 2 colors.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Then, it's a good David that you brought up that your sister just did it on her own with an independent seller. That might cost less than buying a whole nother set of Joy-Cons to get somebody to reshell it for you and do the programming so that your Switch, because you can do any kind of coloring, and all the good folks out there that are doing these reshells will reprogram it too, so that way your Switch identifies whatever the color update is.
Yeah. You don't even need a modular Switch for that
one.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And now we're talking about this, and I'm maybe I'll finally actually do the atomic purple.
Yeah. One of those see-through ones with a D-pad on it would be really nice.
Well, we'll move on. So to some Pokemon news. I'm hoping Summer, if there's anything detailed about this, you can help. But Pokemon Home has been updated to version 3, which now allows players to bring Pokemon to and from Scarlet and Violet, right?
That's pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I just
and
know
vice
that like
versa.
sometimes there's ones you can't move back and forth. I don't know if there's any special kind of
Right.
stuff with like
There's always going to be specific Pokemon that have certain things tied to them. And every iteration of games, there's going to be certain like moves and abilities that can't always transfer to specific games. Um, Sometimes there's specific event Pokemon or versions of Pokemon. Like um, if we want to go like really far back, sorry, the most notable example that always comes to mind is the spiky eared Pikachu back from the Gold Silver Crystal days that couldn't be brought over to other versions of games because the data just wasn't ever made for another game after that.
Right.
So there have been similar things to that like throughout the years. So there's always going to be stuff like that. But yes, that now people will finally be able to, shift over maybe some competitive pokes that they had in Sword and Shield to be able to bring them over to Scarlet and Violet, use them for breeding, or maybe continue or just like make whatever like slight modifications to them to use them in the current competitive scene. Because I know that this is just in time. Because I know that the current regionals are getting started. I think this past weekend was regionals up in Milwaukee. So the season has just started. People are going to be editing their teams and getting ready for, the big championships up this August. So just in time for that.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, moving on then, since I guess that's it. You can move your
That's
Pokemon
it.
back and
Finally, yeah.
forth.
It finally happened. The delay has passed. Yeah.
Vanpool is a Japanese Tokyo-based developer who primarily works with Nintendo, or we should say worked because they have closed down. And it kind of seemed to have happened suddenly. Their website just at the end of May was just turned into a notice saying that they dissolved the company. And thanks to everyone who enjoyed their games. And if you're wondering what Vanpool did, they did a lot of things for Nintendo. Most notably and recently, the Kirby games. They were involved in all the big Kirby games, including the most recent, very recent, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. But they also were involved in the Dylan's Rolling Western series. And several other Nintendo games. In particular of note, I think is interesting, the Tingle game, one of the Tingle games.
Yes, let's say the full title: Freshly Picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. Which I don't think had a U.S. release, if I'm not mistaken. I think that might have been
not.
Japan and European only. But I know Dylan's Rolling Western were awesome games for like the DS, and I think there was a 3DS game as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was like the last 3DS game made or something, or one of them, not maybe.
Yeah. But those are really cool games. Really talented developers. I hope a lot of them find homes in other departments at Nintendo. And they get kind of scooped up. Because a lot of really talented developers over there. And they worked pretty heavily on Forgotten Land as well, which was an excellent Kirby game. So I'd hate to see all that talent go to waste.
And then Splatoon 3 news. The Sizzle season has gone live as of June 1st. So there's all the new stages, all the new weapons, and I don't know if anybody here has had a chance to check this out, or if we've been
Take it away, Patrick.
just
I haven't gotten
obsessed
here.
with. Well, I will talk about it. Then.
Yeah.
I definitely dipped into Turf War when they had the new mall stage. It's called like Nickel and Barnacle or Barnacle and Dime, something like that. I've got it all mixed up.
Nickel or Dime is there.
It's a play on Nickel and Dime. Anyway.
Barnacle and Dime, there it is.
And I have played the new Salmon Run stage quite a bit, actually. It got me back into Salmon Run. And as part of that, the Paintbrush, which is one of the new weapons, was on one of those rotations, as well as the S-Blast 92. And also my son purchased the new Splatana, which is like the Wiper Deco or something like that. So I've had a chance to check out quite a bit of this, and yeah, more Splatoon content is great. I've mostly been doing the Salmon Run, and I really like the new stage. It's definitely different. It's kind of more like Marooner's Bay, which was the other new one, in that it's really big. And so some of the stuff that's easy on other stages is harder here, and vice versa, which I kind of like. And Yeah, I haven't tried, I haven't seen the humpback pump track stage, which I think is a returning stage.
I do like that stage. Yeah, I played that one a lot in Splatoon 2. So I'm excited to get back into that. A lot of. I want to play other games. I have actually bought other games. I've got something to talk about at the end of the show this week. But yeah, Splatoon has unfortunately been getting the shit end of the stick for me. But can't wait to try these out.
The other thing worth mentioning is that they have done at least one of the challenges. I didn't get a chance to do it. They're kind of in short. I wasn't expecting them to be so short of time frames. I could be wrong about exactly what it was, but it was only a handful of hours, I think. And I was just like, oh, okay, I missed that one. So we'll see how that goes. So more on that whenever we get a chance to check out challenges. In some late breaking news here for us, old news by the time this comes out, but some new games have been added to Nintendo Switch Online. It looks like these are all going to be on the base plan. Am I correct? Like the none of these are expansion pack. These are all NES, Super NES, and Game Boy games.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah, two Game Boy Color games, one Super Nintendo game, and one NES game.
Because it's just Nintendo 64 and the Game Boy Advance that are the
and the Genesis.
Premium
expansion.
And the Genesis. Yeah.
We can't count that.
Anyway.
What games do we have here, Patrick?
I'll be honest, I don't know. Is Blaster Master is what I'm watching right now? What do we got? That's an NES game?
Yeah, but this is the Game Boy Color version. So this is
on the Game Boy.
On the Game Boy Color, we've got Blaster Master Enemy Below, which was the Game Boy Color version of that game. Kirby's Tilt and Tumble. Which is a great game that uses the gyro, had a gyro like built into the game cartridge. So that'll actually use the Switch's gyro, which is really cool to see. Then on Super Nintendo, we're finally getting Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo, which, previously came out in the Japanese NSO. But now we're actually, I guess they got the rights kind of figured out for that to get that to American audiences. And then Mystery Tower for the NES, which in Japan is known as the Tower of Babel. Which is kind of like a platform puzzle game. Those are all coming. They should be out today when we're recording. I think they just kind of shadow dropped these as we were doing the news. So don't let anyone ever tell you that we don't do our due diligence here on this show. I guess we dropped everything to get you this late.
And we were busy.
Yeah, we were busy talking about sizzle season.
Good to know that these announcements tend to happen at 8 p.m. on Monday.
They do. They actually do.
They do. Yeah. But yeah, Summer, you've played some of these, right? What of these stand out to you?
Yeah, obviously, I knew it was coming, but getting to see it officially now, that Kirby Tilt and Tumble, that might be what breaks me from playing nothing but Tears of the Kingdom to get to, because it's going to be really nostalgic for me. Kirby Tilt and Tumble was my very first game, my very first Kirby game, my very first introduction to Kirby. So it'll be super nostalgic for me. And my first introduction to Harvest Moon wasn't until the GameCube, so I'm really looking forward to being able to play the original Harvest Moon as well. Especially now, like we weren't expecting this because of the whole Story of Seasons versus Harvest Moon like naming debacle over here in the States. So like you just said, they must have gotten something figured out with the rights, and that's probably why we didn't get it right away. And I think we got something else, like, what is it, Earthworm Jim or whatever?
I think we got an Earthworm Jim.
Terrible.
Right, some game that was a US game only.
Side Pocket, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, back when Japan did get Harvest Moon. And I remember back then being like, oh my God, this is probably because we can't get it here. And it just took some time. So
need a little bit more time in the oven. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Yeah, I know in Japan, instead of Harvest Moon, they're getting like a Japanese only baseball game for the Super Nintendo. So no big loss there, honestly. I'm glad we're finally getting Harvest Moon.
Far more interesting to me.
Yeah. And I mean, I think like it'll be really nice to go back to like the origins of that franchise.
Especially with the new remake coming out this summer as well.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm super, super pumped to play Kirby's Tilt and Tumble, man. Like you guys know I'm a big rolling your ball to the goal game player.
Well, and getting to tilt
Yeah, and getting to actually
it's all
tilt is
tilt
fun.
controls.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So that'll be a blast. I can't wait to play these. And there's really no more gyro shrines in Tears of the Kingdom, so this will take the place of some of those in my heart.
I had forgotten about those.
Yeah. No more hackneyed gyro
Yeah,
shrines.
you're right.
Well, it's obvious now that everyone can stop complaining about Nintendo taking down emulators and emulation sites because they are clearly adding games to the NSO service at a rapid pace that people want, like totally Mystery Tower.
Hey, yo, Mystery Tower looks lit. I'd never heard of this game, and I was watching it on the video, and it looks pretty cool, I think. So I'm into it. Kind of looks like Lode Runner, you know?
All right, I'll stop making jokes, and we'll move on. So now we are moving away from Nintendo for a few news items, but we will be back. First of all, there was an event called the Worldwide Developers Conference? Something I'm not terribly familiar with.
I think so. It's whatever Apple's conferences every year. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I didn't realize it was theirs.
I was about to ask if it was a normal thing. Okay.
Yeah, It was. Apple has a yearly conference where they show off new tech and everything. Yeah.
And they showed off something. It's called the Apple Vision Pro, which is like a VR AR headset that makes you look like you're about to go swimming. Right? Like they look like swim goggles, which is cool. Honestly, it kind of looks pretty sleek and that's fine. Like I'm trying to make a joke about it, but it actually might look as good as any VR headset. None of them make you look
I think what's freaky about it is that you can still see the person's eyes. Maybe that's what's bothering people.
It's like because it does a big part of this is that it's like it's a VR, like you said, Patrick, it's a VR AR hybrid, right? So it's like
you can walk around with this.
Yeah, it's pass through. You can see everything around you. You can like dial in how much of the world you want to see around you, or you can like block it out, which is kind of cool. But the freaky thing, like you were saying, Summer,
in college.
Right. well, the freaky thing is like you can see eyes, but it's not. There's tech in the way, so you're seeing video of the person's eyes. That it's because it's doing eye tracking on the inside, so it's like showing your face underneath, but like a facsimile of your face. So it's like you can like what you could see, you could still talk to people as you have it on because you're seeing their eyes, but it's like really freaky. And they were showing off.
You're telling me that it's like a video of my face underneath.
Yes. Yeah. Coming through.
And not actually see through.
Yeah. It's like a second screen on the outside. Right.
So I'm not actually seeing this person's eyes right now. I'm seeing.
Yeah. Well, you're seeing like video of their eyes.
It's not a window. It's
no. It's very, very odd. The whole presentation was like really kind of creepy and dystopic. Like, if I'm honest, like I watched it today with my dad, and it was
there's
like
a dad with kids wearing it, and then watching a video of his kids.
Yeah. But I mean, you can do
time with your kids. Don't just get on your glasses while they're playing over there.
I recently watched Minority Report, and it gave me heavy Minority Report vibes, right? Because first of all, there's all the like moving stuff around through the air to control stuff, right? It's like there's no controller, it's just your hands. And then like you can take 3D video with the thing on your face. So it's like capture moments with your kids. And it's like, so you just have to sit there with a thing on your face that captures 3D video, and then you can watch it back again in VR, like in 3D. And so it's like, I don't know. It's just really, the whole thing is really odd and a little unsettling.
So it's like the 3DS, but on your face.
Basically, yeah. It's like you strap a 3DS to your face.
You could take 3D videos and but you can only watch them on the 3DS. Okay.
I would imagine the cameras are a little bit heavier duty on this thing than they were on the 3DS, but yes. But I think there's a lot of weird shit about this. They're clearly trying to make this something that people wear all the time, but it's also like, like for like FaceTime, like it's not, there's no camera pointing at your face. So it like scans your face, and there's like a 3D virtual version of yourself that will be in FaceTime calls when you're wearing it.
Oh, ew.
Yeah.
So this is just more like an attempted metaverse stuff instead of just playing a game.
Yeah. This is them kind of trying to do that, but it's less like it's this alternate world you go to, and more like it's your world, but kind of augmented. Right. like you said, Patrick, they're pretty sleek, and there's definitely some gaming applications. They said
They
that,
show somebody pick up a PlayStation controller in this thing.
Yeah, it's going to be compatible with, like they said, like 100 Apple Arcade games right out of the box. Which God knows that's what I want to play on a VR headset, or Apple Arcade mobile games. But whatever, right? I mean, they're clearly trying to pump it up as like a business thing, as a everyday life sort of thing with some gaming application. But I think the thing that really took everybody by surprise today is they announced the price, and it's starting at $3,500.
Oh, yeah. So we all can just go get one right away. We all have that kind of money just lying around for an impulse purchase.
I mean, it's like the most Apple thing they could ever do is make this thing, 3.5 times the most expensive VR headset on the market, right? But I don't know. I think it's something that they're probably trying to market to businesses to buy for their employees. You know what I mean? Which is why there's such a big markup. But I mean, it seems like the tech in it is like really amazing. I just don't know. I don't know, man. I think all these big tech companies keep trying to make VR happen, and I don't know that we're there yet, right? I think these things need to be really small before we just wear them all the time, right? This still definitely looks like you're wearing ski goggles. There's no another weird thing about it is there's no internal battery. It like the battery is fed through a wire that you then keep the battery in your pocket to like keep the weight down of the device. So it's like either way, this seems like first generation tech. You know what I mean? This is like remember the first iPhone, right? And then like where we're at with the iPhone now. Like I think in about 10 years, maybe they can get this thing down to where it's sleek enough to where people want to wear it all the time. But I don't know, man. I don't know if it's worth $3,500 to wear something that's gonna, get you made fun of at the bar.
or that's honestly looks really easy to just rip off of somebody's head, right? I wouldn't feel super eager to wear this down the street. You could just pull it right off their head.
Yeah.
For $35.
Yeah,
right?
You just go buy another one with your $3,500 that you just
The whole front is glass too, so you can't drop this thing or it's gonna shatter, right? So I don't know. It's fucking strange, gang.
It's not for me.
Yeah, it was. I'm like a pretty tech forward guy. I like seeing new tech innovations, and even this kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies, I think. So I don't know. We'll see how it
okay
goes.
with my cardboard VR with Nintendo. I'll stick to that for now. That won't break when it falls.
I don't know if this thing takes off. I mean, we might see a lot more people getting into it. Maybe Switch 2.
I regret making fun of it now. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Well, we should move on. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. The next few things are kind of leading us into our main topic, and maybe we can hit them kind of quick because we could kind of reference them in our main topic as well. But the season of big game announcements is upon us. First up is the Xbox Showcase and Starfield Direct happening this Sunday, June 11th. Briefly, it looked like there might be an announcement or news around Fable, but it would seem that might have been not true. There was some posts that made people think that, and then the VP of marketing was like, "Whoa, no." So
is Fable deconfirmed?
I don't know if he's just trying to be coy.
It's hard to know with that,
or like trying to temper expectations, or who knows what.
I'd be pretty surprised if we don't see Fable, man. I mean, they announced that like 2 or 3 years ago at this point, right? Like, be pretty weird to not see anything from that game.
They might just do an update. Yeah.
Yeah.
At any rate, they walked that back a little bit, so we'll see. I expect it'll mostly be. They're calling it a direct too. Can we talk about that? I think this is the first time that Xbox has used that term. I could be wrong because it's not.
They called their last one a developer direct.
Okay.
So I think they're just straight up.
Well, it's
taking
Starfield Direct versus the Xbox Games Showcase, but they're like together.
Mm-hmm.
They're using the term direct for the second time, it sounds like. Yeah.
It's weird that they're calling it a Microsoft Nintendo Direct. It's a little strange.
The direct terminology is now it's the Kleenex. It's the
You're right.
The
Post-it. Yeah. So there you go. Is there anything y'all want to say about Xbox or Starfield? I mean, it'd be exciting to see Starfield.
I'll watch
it. But
I'm gonna watch the Direct.
Definitely gonna watch it. I'm still very excited for Starfield. Xbox really needs a dub right now, right? So I really hope the kind of rough past couple years. Redfall was a disappointment. Halo has pretty much been dead on arrival since it came out. Hi-Fi Rush was great, but other than that, they've been kind of getting trounced by PlayStation right now. So I'd love to see some good announcements from Microsoft here, but time will tell. Hopefully they can really knock it out of the park with Starfield.
Well, this whole Xbox and Starfield Direct is also listed as part of the Summer Game Fest on the Summer Game Fest website. So again, we're in this season of all these things, but the official Summer Game Fest event kickoff thing is this Thursday, day after this comes out. So if you're listening timely and you want to watch this, I think it's on Thursday afternoon. I don't know what that is going to be. Like what, it's supposed to be it's quote, a live cross industry showcase. So I assume there will be some, announcements and updates on games and then a lot of Jeff Keighley.
There might be Nintendo at that. It's possible.
I suppose it's possible, yeah.
And I'm looking over this entire schedule, like now, looking at the timing of everything, thinking, well, hang on. Is there a time slot that it would make sense for there to be? Maybe I'm jumping ahead here.
Yeah, we'll get into that in the main topic. But
I think they've been continuing to plug things in on this page for Summer Game Fest as things get announced.
I imagine we'll see more stuff pop up here. But yeah, I know on the 8th, we've got the Day of the Devs showcase, which is kind of the Double Fine indie event that they've been doing for years now. That's being roped in. The Devolver showcase is also on June 8th. So there's going to be a lot on that first day and then, throughout the next week or so. So yeah, it's exciting. This is E3, not E3 is happening. I think Jeff Keighley made a pretty cheeky tweet about how Summer Games Fest didn't kill E3. E3 killed itself or something like that. And I was like, bro, just fucking take the dub, dude. Just you don't have to rub it in.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo.
Yeah, there are a lot of big showcases beyond the ones we've already talked about, through this weekend. So, or big if you're into them, right? Like PC Game Showcase, the Wholesome Direct, lots of stuff happening, which we'll talk about in the coming weeks. I am sure. But one thing that Nintendo did announce this past week is everybody won to Switch in a tweet. We still haven't seen any gameplay. There's not been a trailer.
There's not even been there's no screenshots. We only have the key art.
It's literally a photo of two people holding Joy-Cons.
And it was announced within the last few days. I don't know exactly when, but the game is coming out on June 30th. So within 3-4 weeks of release, this is announced with not much information. What? What? Why?
Based on the
What's
fact that
going
you can
on?
use Joy-Cons and phones, I'm guessing it's just their attempt at some Jackbox style
Totally
party games.
Yeah. I mean, we've known about this for a while. Leakers leaked this 2 years ago, and all the rumors around it is that it was so bad that it was unreleasable, right? It was, everybody was saying there's no way anybody's gonna fucking pick this up. This game is garbage. Nintendo doesn't know what to do with it, and I think that we can tell that it's that way, right? I mean, like you said, they dropped that it's coming out with no information. It's coming out later in the month.
It's $30.
It's $20 less than the game it's a sequel to, right? We weren't sure if they were just going to drop this on NSO or something like that.
And they still could, but that would be kind of shitty to open up pre-orders and then do that.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, $30 is a lot less of a barrier to entry for a game like this. I'm definitely interested in what this thing is going to be. But I mean, I do not have my hopes high for a great, fucking 90% Metacritic AAA Nintendo release for this one, right? This is definitely a budget title, and they're just trying to kind of get it out there so it doesn't just sit there unreleased forever.
Well, there's definitely more I want to talk about with this in terms of its implications. But I think we should save that and end our news segment with a little bit more information has come out about the Nintendo Live event in early September. They've been adding sort of what's going to be happening at the event to their website. You know, there's going to be, we already kind of knew there's going to be stage things and competitions, but they've been kind of putting those details like music from Mario, music from Zelda, tournaments that are happening. Is there anything I'm missing, Summer?
Specifically this past week, they updated how you can get a ticket to go and what that's going to look like. So even though the event is 4 days long, you are only able to get a ticket for a singular day. So what this sounds like, it's happening in the same convention center and the same time as PAX West.
Okay.
So what's going on is that there are two different ways to sign up to potentially receive a ticket. You can either do it officially, you can do it through the Nintendo website, or you can do it through the PAX West website once you've gotten your PAX West ticket. Now, having a PAX West badge does not confirm that you can go to this, even though it's in the same space. It's still just you are eligible to potentially receive a ticket once you sign up. You can choose to sign up for one of the 4 days. Tickets are non-transferable. So if you win it and then end up not being able to go, so if this was something that you were interested in going, but you weren't interested in going to PAX West as a whole, it would be very difficult to plan around that, right?
Yeah.
And like this isn't like a thing that you plan to go to just for it. This is a thing that you would maybe get to go to if you're already going to PAX West.
Right.
Is what this sounds like.
That's a weird way to do it.
Yeah, it is. To me, this is a little frustrating to hear. That's how this is how they're going to do it. It's free to attend. It sounds really similar to how, like, the things that they're going to be doing do sound similar to the exhibits that they have had previously at PAX.
Yeah. It sounds like it's probably the same shit every day too, right?
Yes, that's what it's sounding like. Aside from the tournaments, yes. So, right, you would only be able to participate in one tournament. You'd have to choose if you were going to try to sign up for a singular day. But otherwise, like, it's sounding like, at least I'm hoping that like things like the performances are going to happen every single day. I feel like that would be pretty crappy if they didn't, because that was my first thought was, oh my gosh, like, it doesn't say what days those performances are happening. Like, how would you know? And well, hopefully they're happening each day of the event. It's also saying that, they're going to be demoing games. Everybody who's going to go to this probably already owns Mario Kart, right? So, like, what else are they going to demo?
Yeah.
For people who are going to be interested in going to, people who are already in a place where they are able to attend PAX West, what are they going to demo for those people?
That's a great question. And also, like, you'd think they would want to demo games that aren't out yet, and we don't have a lot of info about that.
I just want to say how disappointed I am that it seems we're not getting a Splatoon concert out of this. I think that would have gotten me. I mean, there might be, but it says here in the live stage section that there's a Super Mario musical performance and the Legend of Zelda musical performance. No talk of Splatoon.
It still says that they don't know for sure what's going to happen. And shortly after, for what it's worth, shortly after this, I did go and check the PAX West website to see if they had any updates about programming. It is still kind of early for those things to be established, and PAX West doesn't have a single guest or band announced yet. It is still kind of early for Penny Arcade to be making those kinds of announcements. So the fact that I mean, personally, would it be awesome if they had them by now? Yes, for the biggest PAX event in the world, right? Like, it would be like, I can't attend because months ago I knew I was attending a different event that happens the same weekend because they already announced how many guests that I want to go see, right? So this other event happening the same weekend, you'd think that PAX would, I mean, there's certain people that that are always going to be there, that are always guests, people like Reggie Fils-Aimé, he's always like the keynote or whatever. So it makes sense. I mean, because of the location, right? Stuff like that.
Reggie Fils-Aimé of Pizza Hut?
Yes. How did you know? I'm also, but I'm not trying to tell you to not be disappointed, David.
Yeah, it doesn't say it yet, and they say other things, so that's
right.
Definitely.
Because like, it does lend itself to, like, them thinking that those idol style concerts wouldn't do well over here.
Yeah, that's
But
kind of the vibe
literally,
I'm getting. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like literally in 2020, I had bought tickets to go see a Hatsune Miku concert in April. Like I was ready to go see, right, a Vocaloid performance, which is what the Splatoon performances are pretty much,
Yeah,
right?
or they're holograms.
I was going to see
Yeah.
Hatsune Miku in Dallas in April of 2020. Didn't get to. I would still pay to see that. Like it's still a production. I would love to see Splatoon, but like that is like Nintendo kind of being behind. I think if that ends up being the case, right, it would be awesome. But Nintendo being still behind on like what our continent audiences want.
They underestimate the amount of weebs that would make it out to a Splatoon concert.
Yes. Yeah.
And now with this tidy transition of weebs going to a concert, we will take a break. And when we come back, we'll move on to our main topic, which is, will we get a summer direct, and what can we expect, and what do we hope happens with Nintendo in the fall and the rest of the year? We are back, and this week we are talking about, will there be a Nintendo Direct in June? When will there be a Nintendo Direct? What's going on with Nintendo announcements or first-party games, given the sort of limited amount of things we know that are coming with the rest of this year?
Let me stop you right there. I know when they're going to announce one. It's going to be June 7th at 11 a.m.
Right.
The moment this episode comes out, no question. That's when we're gonna.
You know, it would make sense because it would make sense for them to want to do it before Summer Game Fest, right?
Yeah.
That they're just, it's like their way of not stealing the thunder, but just like, okay, fine, we're gonna do it before everybody else does.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's totally.
Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Patrick.
this is a really important point to make, that this, what we're all about to say, could be very well invalidated.
I know, and before the episode even comes out.
It. So we'll try to talk about this maybe in a way that, you know, is useful, even if that does happen, but that's kind of hard to do. But I think there's a lot of evidence that isn't going to happen, that I think we should analyze. First of all, I don't trust all of these people. And it also sounds like what they were saying is sort of speculative rather than like they've heard something, or rather not heard something, because how do you hear a negative? But a lot of the big gaming insiders like Jeff Grubb and some other folks have been saying that they have not heard about a Nintendo Direct and feel like it's unlikely to happen in June when it traditionally does, right? And they were talking, especially when they were talking about the Sony showcase that happened. Now, they don't know. Nobody knows. Well, somebody knows, I guess, but behind closed doors, right? So it would be true that Nintendo would traditionally do a Direct right about now, right? But there is no E3. And I think the other piece of evidence that maybe there isn't a Direct is this Everybody 1-2 Switch announcement.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that would be like the highlight of a Direct, but
it is weird that they announced it this close to when a Direct would potentially happen, but it wouldn't be the first time Nintendo has just announced a game with barely any information and then had a Direct and then had more information in that Direct.
Yeah, good counterpoint.
There are no screenshots or videos or any kind of game, no idea what the game is, period, right? So
it's got a horse head in it.
Maybe they're saving all of that for the Direct.
That's a good counterpoint. That maybe because they're like, we got to get this out by the end of June, we better make people aware of it and put the pre-orders up.
Right. There might have been some kind of licensing reason, like some kind of contract reason that they had to get an announcement of the game by a certain date.
Yeah.
But that's why there's no...
A counterpoint to that counterpoint, if you really want to have as little aplomb with this fucking game before it comes out, you put it in a Direct and shadow drop it that day. Then at least you get the shadow drop hype, pickups, you know what I mean? And then it's you don't have to know anything about the game. It's just oh, they released it today, I gotta go pick it up. It's gonna be as good as Metroid Prime Remastered or whatever. So I think I don't know.
Good counter.
What I think the
counter.
metric is like, and sorry if I stepped on anybody's toes here, but I think that what would be a counter argument for if it's going to happen or not is if we get a tweet dropping the Mario Kart DLC tracks. If we get a tweet with that, then I think there's
over.
no direct. I think if we get any direct this month, it would be like a partner showcase or something like that, right? Because I think, we've got 2 more drops of the Mario Kart 8 DLC.
That was my next question. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And which would line up well for a June and a September, like they've kind of historically
They
done.
did it in August.
What was last August?
The DLC.
Really? But they showed it off at the June Direct.
They might have, but they
announced it in the June.
Yeah. So I that's another reason I think it could not happen, because again, they can release this DLC whenever they want. They could just be like, "Fuck you, here's Wave 7 in June." But if they have followed their pattern a little bit, why don't we just go ahead and finish this out by saying the only things we know that are coming are the 1-2 Switch in June 30th.
No, Patrick, I have a counter argument. No, I'm just kidding. No,
don't give it. What is it?
No, I'm joking.
You don't get to joke. You have to say something now.
Everybody.
I had nothing. I'm an improviser. Okay, I'm not like a scientist. Please, Patrick.
Oh yeah, this is a science direct. Weird. This is the science of directs
I'm doing
now.
the science of it. Yeah. All we know about are everybody 1-2 Switch in June 30th, Pikmin 4 July 21st, and the Mario Kart 2 DLCs, which if they follow the schedule would be August and December, I think, is my understanding. And that's not a lot. But it's
Pokemon
also
is technically its own separate thing, huh? Because we are getting Pokemon DLC.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
the end of the year.
That'll be in a Pokemon Presence.
Yes,
yeah.
But this is the part where I want to add that in the leak that had the Pokemon DLC, or so when we had the Pokemon Presents, there was that leak that correctly predicted everything in that direct. The presentation. The only thing that was missing was that DLC is going to coincide with new hardware. It's going to be coming out with new hardware, which is why they're not focusing on updating the software of the game until then with the new DLC, like for its functionality. So
I don't believe that.
But they've never done hardware announcements in directs, have they?
No, they usually have their own presentation for that. Yeah, it's like the Switch reveal was its own event that they did. That was not a direct, right? That
was
back
not
when they did
E3.
that that was in January of 2017.
It was like a direct, but it was its own little.
It was a live thing. There was like an audience, like it was on a stage when they showed off the Switch, right? Let's talk about new hardware, because I think that that's another kind of thing against having a direct or at least having 2 directs for the rest of the year, right? Like let's say that I don't think that they're putting out new hardware this year, right? I don't think that it's going to happen. It very well could. I'd love to be wrong on that. Actually, no, I'd kind of like to see the Switch around for another year. But I have a feeling that we're going to get an announcement of new hardware next year with a release a little bit into the year or maybe even holiday season, right? If that's the case, this is like the wind down year of the Switch, right? There's not probably a ton they can really show. We've got games that we know are eventually coming. The fucking Metroid is supposed to come to the Switch at some point. They said it's coming to the Switch, but that could easily be delayed to the next hardware, right? If they did a sort of Breath of the Wild thing where it's like, we're holding this until the release of the next thing, but it's kind of cross-compatible, or it's releasing on Wii U and Switch like Breath of the Wild did with the new Metroid, I think that would make a ton of sense. But it's like, if they're running out of shit and it's just little games from here on for the rest of the Switch's lifespan, like if they're holding a lot of their heavy hitters for the new hardware, then it would make sense to just have a direct in September, or just have the direct here in June and not have one in September, right? Or fuck it, they could just do Twitter drops for the rest of the year, which I think is just as viable,
I'm looking at that list of 3 things we know about, and I say that could get us through August. I'm not saying, you know what I mean? Like, I think this one, everybody 1-2 Switch, maybe they only tweeted what they tweeted so that they can drip feed stuff over the next week, 2 weeks, whatever. And then they can focus on Pikmin and Mario Kart. And then get to August, September and have a direct,
Mm-hmm.
that announces a few things for holiday and early next year. I don't know.
I mean, there's also something to be said too about how Nintendo is like totally resting on their laurels with Tears of the Kingdom right now, right? Like they've got pretty much the biggest game of all time on their hands right now. Maybe not technically, but it certainly feels like it, right?
Oh
Like
no!
nobody's
Even all of the big Final Fantasy people are saying that Tears of the Kingdom is probably the game of the year, even though we want to be really excited about 16. Like we won't. The difference between Final Fantasy 16 and Tears of the Kingdom is that we knew Tears of the Kingdom was going to be good before it came out.
Right? Yeah.
We'll probably still enjoy Final Fantasy 16. Do we know if it's even a game of the year contender? Not until it comes out.
I mean, on top of that, we've got Diablo 4 out now, and we've got Street Fighter 6 out now. These are two games that are both reviewing really, really well. Like these are apparently all great games, but it's like I don't even really hear anybody talk. I mean, I've got some friends in the FGC that are talking about Street Fighter 6. I know people are excited for it, but it's like people are still playing Tears of the Kingdom like 3-4 weeks on since its release. There's so much game there. It's like at least Nintendo fans are pretty satiated. Like I'm not even concerned about any new games for a while from Nintendo.
That's
right
a really
now.
good point that I would like to acknowledge that I thought about when this topic came up, but I forgot about, which is that I got really obsessed with Splatoon 3, and now I'm really obsessed with Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly, I'm good. Nintendo has had me on 2 games since last September.
Related to that, I was like, wow, I might actually get to like also catch up on some other games if some other things that if some other things don't come out, I'm like, oh, there's other games that I might actually like get to go back and play and experience before whatever big new Nintendo thing happens. So not a counter like necessarily, but just kind of a personal.
Yeah.
I could go either way.
Right. Like
if there is a big announcement, like I'm always going to be hype. If there isn't, you know what? I'm still excited about the Microsoft showcase. Like, as a Game Pass
we got Starfield
owner now. Yeah. Like I'm excited for whatever is going to come out with that. We'll still be excited for the rest of Summer Game Fest. But that being said, I'm not completely sold on what I'm going to use my other half of my voucher on. Right? So like there is still a part of me that's like, man,
bring something on. Well, you got a year.
I know we already got a new Fire Emblem this year, but like, what if?
Well, let's.
See, I used mine on Advance Wars. I know Pat, you're using yours on Pikmin.
I already used it on Pikmin to pre-order.
Yeah,
I mean that was a no-brainer for me. I'm excited about Pikmin. Probably the most excited about Pikmin of
I'll
the three of us.
probably wait for gameplay, or for full reviews for Pikmin. I have another gamer sin, right? I haven't played a Pikmin. My full exposure to Pikmin has been Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah. That's it's the best character in Smash.
I recommend 3 Deluxe, but we should talk about that later. What I do want to talk about is what you just said, which is Fire Emblem. Let's talk about the things that have been rumored and if any of those are likely to happen in the next several months or the rest of the year. There's been several rumors. I don't know if y'all think any of these could be slotted in or would make sense. There is the Fire Emblem remake, right? That's been heavily rumored.
I'm checking release dates for Fire Emblem games really quick because what we know about Engage is that it had been practically done for 2 years. It was supposed to be an anniversary game. And then there were just some other things that they decided that they wanted to continue to work on, and combined with I think Three Houses was just so successful, right? So that they just decided to sit on it for a little bit longer. With the success of that, right, they obviously did another Warriors game, Three Hopes.
It would be a lot of Fire Emblem, but I do think that Engage's focus on the historic Fire Emblem could tie in well to it.
The last remake that we got, right, which was Echoes Shadows of Valentia, which I imagine everyone assumes that the next remake will be an Echoes title, and that's just how they're going to refer to like the new remake games from now on. Yeah,
like a Genealogy, the Holy War remake.
That's what it would be. It would be a remake. That was what the leak was. The leak that had all of the Engage leaks in it leaked that they were also working on a remake of Genealogy of the Holy War. I would love to be wrong on part of that, and that it would be a combined remake of of that game plus its sequel, 776 Thracia. But we'll see. So all of that to say, Shadows of Valentia came out almost within a year of Fates. It was really close. Which is surprising because of how much like they put into Fates. But as someone who just recently played Echoes Shadows of Valentia for the first time, oh my gosh, it was gorgeous. And if they were working on both of those at the same time, I mean, or Shadows of Valentia was such a complete, robust experience for a remade game, because like they had to literally make everything for that, right? Because the original game was on Famicom. So if it's totally possible that that game could be at least announced for a next year release. I could see that being a thing because they do like to continue to string along Fire Emblem, just like engagement and interest.
Well,
right?
the DLC for Engage came out so soon after the game was released, right?
Which and I was shocked how quickly the waves came out too.
Yeah,
for the Fire.
exactly.
Like I'm not done playing that. Oh yeah, I still gotta. That is reminding me. I still gotta finish the last wave of the Fire Emblem Engage DLC. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, like that's going to be really great to play.
Yeah, I think I would not be surprised to see one more Fire Emblem game released on the Switch before the end of the Switch's lifespan.
And
right?
see, and that's where we're also like, I was at a Fire Emblem meetup just 2 days ago with a lot of big hardcore fans, right? And we were having this conversation about, is it gonna be like the Pokemon rumor or leak, whatever, of, are they holding on? Do they want this remake of this like hugely like beloved game that people want to see done really well? Are they saving that for new hardware?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to know. But based on
I don't think
previous, that's what I was going to say next. Is based on the history of the Fire Emblem franchise, it would make sense for. Well, see, I'm already backtracking. I would say it would make sense for a third installation, but they are. As a franchise, they are considering Warriors as its own install. Let's talk about something else.
I think it's totally feasible, but I also don't think that it's something that they would announce in a June Direct so soon, right? That seems like that would be a September, October Direct.
They announced a new Bayonetta game like 2 months after a Bayonetta game came out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
Possible, right?
But I know we've got two teams at Intelligent Systems like working on these Fire Emblem games, right? So it's like we know they've been in development side by side. It could happen in either one, but it's like I feel like that's something that we would hear about later in the year for something that's next year. But yeah, either way, I think that gives a little bit more fuel for the fire, at least what we can expect out of the Switch with the rest of its life. I know here you've got some other things, Patrick. A lot of them are remasters and remakes that we've had rumored, right?
Yeah, well, let's list them real quick, and then we can go over. We don't have to go over everyone, but the F-Zero, there's been talk of an F-Zero remaster or remake.
Is that real or is that just us?
I mean, it's Nate.
There's it's Nate the Hate. Some people at VGC have been talking about it. An F-Zero GX remake has definitely been heavily rumored. Yeah.
And the Paper Mario 1000-Year Door has also been a thing that's been rumored. And the Zelda, I don't believe this one, but the Zelda Wind Waker Twilight Princess games, I mean, maybe after the success of this, of Tears of the Kingdom especially. Yeah. But
that would make sense. Apparently Nintendo's had those ready to go for fucking years, right? But I mean, if we're talking about new hardware next year, that would make sense for like a January drop or something like that, right? Get it out of the release year of Tears of the Kingdom and into like the final year of the Switch's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would make a lot of sense.
I would probably play every one of those games that we just talked about if they are true, even if they're all true and they all came this year, because some of those I haven't played and whatever. But that just feels kind of a bummer if like all that's coming is remakes and remasters. There has to be something new. There's the Donkey Kong rumor that there is a new, it was unclear if it's 2D, but it sounded like 2D Donkey Kong game that's not country, presumably, based on the rumor, again, which could be wrong.
The rumor is that it was made by the Mario Odyssey team, right? which would be fucking hype.
Yeah, and
That's
that
an
sounds like the
incredible
most
team.
exciting thing to me because it's new and it's like I want a Mario or Donkey. I want to like that. Just those franchises are like, yes, give them to me. Something new. And it's not really a rumor, I guess, but we have Metroid Prime 4 on here. But it's a rumor in the sense that
who knows?
they don't. Yeah, that could be not a Switch game, even, right? Could be anytime. But those are sort
Could
of
be a
things.
Wii U 2 game.
Yeah, right. When they make the Wii U 2. I would be excited for any of those, but I hope there's some sort of surprise between now and the end of the Switch or now and the end of the year, whether it's that Donkey Kong game or something else, because all those remasters and remakes, I would like to play them, but
I mean, you know what else came out the same year as Breath of the Wild? Fucking Mario Odyssey, dog.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
great.
Like, I mean, it's
Big
been
brain.
just as long between a new 3D Mario game, unless you count Bowser's Fury, which I guess you could kind of count a little bit. But it's like,
it was
but you
great
know, I mean,
game,
it's a great game, but a short experience, right? You know,
it was an attachment to a remake, right?
Yeah.
exactly. So I think it's like they've definitely had more than enough time to cook. I mean, we all assumed that
The
Mario
movie.
Odyssey would be getting. Well, we all assumed Mario Odyssey would be getting DLC,
yeah.
right? Just the same way that Tears of the Kingdom was originally supposed to be DLC. That would put it at about a 6-year development cycle, just like Tears of the Kingdom. You know, is 2023 going to be 2017 Part 2 is my question, right? Like, are we going to get another Mario game this year? That would be a huge blowout announcement,
It
right?
would.
If they were to be like, we do have something coming out. Now, I think the real question is, if they know the Switch is dying, if they know it's on its last legs, do they want to even release it on this old ass hardware, or do they want to wait until we've got the new thing, have it be a launch title with the new Switch, if not Metroid Prime 4, which, for the record, a new Mario game would move a lot more units as an exclusive for the new Switch than Metroid Prime 4, right? I mean, Metroid Prime 4 would be hype for gamers like us, you know, people that
But
like
it's
the
not selling
franchise
the
already.
system.
It's not going to be a system seller
I
for
mean,
normies, right?
It would
Like,
make sense for it to be a launch title alongside Mario, sure.
yeah, but
Right.
but even then, I would space it out a month or two, right? You know, kind of get a little bit of like, you know, give a little bit of time for the sales to die down for Mario before you put that out, right? Because I mean, it might be hard if you're strapped for cash, even if you're a big Metroid fan, to turn down a brand new 3D Mario game over a Metroid Prime 4, you know? As far as like bringing this back into the conversation of like, will there be an E3 this year? I mean, this is all stuff you have to consider, right? Or E3, excuse me, a Nintendo Direct in June. I think I am leaning towards there not being Direct in June this year, but I don't think there will be nothing. I think we'll get some sort of third-party Direct, a partner showcase, maybe an indie world, something like that. There'll be something to kind of satiate, because I think like Nintendo, even though they like to do their own thing from time to time and they like to throw in curveballs, they do have a thing for a bit of consistency, right? And this will be the first time in many, many, many years, maybe even decades, that they haven't had some sort of showcase in June, right? So I would imagine there will be something, but you know, I do
Just
think it's going to
looking-
be pretty slim pickings for the rest of the Switch's lifespan.
I mean, I'm looking at the schedule or the history of Directs, and last year when we didn't have an E3, they didn't have a Direct during the time that all of these other like partner showcases were happening. The only thing they had a specific like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Direct, but you know, it was dedicated to showing off that specific game.
Well, they had the partner. They had the partner showcase with Persona 5 in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
So
at
that
the
was-
end of the month. So that
Right,
I
yes.
don't even know that I wouldn't count that as like the E3 timing, right?
Right. Yeah. I suppose you're right on that.
Like
Yeah.
I would say that if we don't get an announcement tomorrow that nullifies this whole episode, then I don't think we're getting one.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's like a nuance, but like I could see a late June partner showcase.
Yeah.
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 And maybe
That's kinda
for
how
the same reason
I'm
they
headed.
did it that year, of some like contractual things that they've agreed and that they've realized we
Right.
don't want to. And I could also see, whether it's June or July, a tweet about one of these remakes or remasters being something true, right? And then we go through, and maybe they don't even do a September Direct. Maybe they hedge their these two things together and do it in August in advance of that Nintendo Live thing, so that there is something to play there. I don't know,
Ooh.
maybe this breaks all their schedule because of the weirdness with this winding down and them saving things, if that's all true. But I still hope that there is at least one big sort of holiday game, whether it's a Mario or Donkey Kong, or I don't even care what, something new that we don't know about.
It would be odd if it was like Tears of the Kingdom and then Pikmin, and then that's pretty much it as far as big games.
Yeah, a few remakes or something.
Yeah,
you know,
it would be odd. You know, because I mean, the last year of Nintendo consoles is often when you get the best shit. I mean, look at Breath of the Wild, right? You know, that came out in the final year of the Wii U. You know what, Donkey Kong Country 3 and many like Kirby games came out in the final year of the SNES. You know, it's like, you know, that's when they know the hardware the best, right? That's when I mean, look at Tears of the Kingdom. Like Tears of the Kingdom like runs incredibly on the Switch, right? On this aging hardware. Like, you know, I'd love to see what they had cooked up, you know, for this system, but you know, I understand if it's the other way around as well.
Yeah, and also just Mario movie, like it still boggles my mind that there isn't that they aren't going to put out a new Mario game with all these new Mario, you know, fans or all. Like, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of sales of Switches based on the movie. I don't know. But I guess they have plenty of Mario games.
Understand that they didn't do any kind of game tie-in, right?
Still blows my mind.
Maybe we're getting a Mario Kart DLC track that's like specifically the Rainbow Road from the movie.
That's a good call, yeah. Or
the Donkey Kong area.
Cranky Kong is a playable character.
Yeah.
You can do
weird
an audio
Luma
swap of the the movie voices.
Yeah, the Luma voice.
Yeah, exactly. I think we might get something like that. It felt to me watching that movie that it was almost more a Mario Kart movie than it was a Mario movie.
The dog,
anyway.
The dog is going to be a playable.
Oh my god. Either way, I think we need to quickly talk about the elephant in the room, and I'm a little disappointed we haven't been talking about this, because if this is going to be 2017 Part 2, we need to talk about Snipperclips 2. All right, where is it? What's happening? Are we getting Snipperclips 2?
It's ARMS. There should be an ARMS 2. I'm too upset that we're focused on Snipper Clippers and not ARMS.
Went to a concert this weekend at the convention, and the guy running one of the cameras, we weren't that far behind him, running one of the cameras had ARMS sleeves on both arms.
I am jealous.
And I was like, wait, there are people out here that like that game.
Yeah, I mean, it sold well. It sold almost as good as 1-2 Switch.
I loved it. But when Smash came out, I stopped playing it.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
But I loved it. But I don't know. Do we want to wrap this up? Is there before we move on, is there anything else that anybody wants to say about what's going on with Nintendo the rest of this year or a June Direct?
If you're going to say that it's the 2017 Part 2, and you're talking about things like Breath of the Wild, then that would imply that some of these, whatever potential big game they might announce, comes out simultaneously on the Switch and on the new hardware.
Yeah, that's not a bad point. I don't know. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to posit. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Yes, because this is a science.
We kind of glossed over the Mario Kart DLC, but I think that could be big. Remember, there's going to be a bunch of new characters. And
it's implied, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 4 new characters at least that we know, right?
And who knows? Maybe they'll throw some other weird thing in there. So I think that could be something that they're leaning on to feel big.
I'll be there. I mean, I'm excited. I love Mario. I still love Mario Kart, man. Like, you know, talk about 2017 Part 2. Like, I was playing the shit out of that in 2017. I was playing the shit out of the game in 2014 when it came out on the Wii U.
Because it's the same game that we've had for 10 years now. Yes.
No, but it's cool, man. I love the new stages. Really do add in a ton of life.
Oh yeah.
Right? I'm here for it. So, you know, I just really think, man, if we see a Twitter drop for the announcement of those stages,
I think that's a good.
I think the Direct is dead. You know, at least this year. Yeah.
I think you were positively right with that call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, then I think that does it. If you've been listening and, you know, you have something that came to your mind, definitely send us a note and we'll try to shout you out next time. And with that, we'll take another break. And when we come back, we'll talk about the games we've been playing recently. we already talked a little bit about Tears of the Kingdom and Splatoon 3, so those are the main things I've been playing. I don't know what to say about Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, where are you at now? How many hours?
And I feel really weird now about it because I've been spending a lot of time with my son on his playthrough, and then I also have mine. I think I'm leaning towards just playing with him, and then playing mine, and not necessarily trying to do everything in mine because, like, I don't know, it's hard to do everything twice, and I kind of want to help him grind up his battery. Because I feel like that's the thing he and I keep talking about is like, let's build this device and let's do this.
Right.
And so I think I'm going to just like, instead of playing my game at night, play his game. He got really obsessed with getting all the memories. And so one day he just went and got all of them and I watched them all. And I'm now I'm like, do I really need to do that? And stuff like that will happen. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm in two weird places, but, he's got 3 of the temples done, halfway through the 4th, got all the memories.
Wow.
So he's starting to mainline the actual story.
Yeah, he's really been doing a lot of that. And then in building stuff and driving it around are his kind of things. And like,
how many batteries is Magnus?
He's only got 2, and that's part of the problem.
Oh, yeah.
We need to get more, but he's not good at grinding in games. I am.
Honestly, for a while I was like, man, this like depths grinding is pretty annoying. But honestly, it's really not that bad. It's
not.
like,
No.
And I've gotten a lot more
zonite.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot more confident at attacking big groups of enemies, like enemy camps. And I think a big way I'm doing that is just using the shit out of puff shrooms. You know what I mean?
I was using the muddle buds, but yeah.
Muddle buds is good, but puff shrooms are even better. You throw it down, everybody's confused. You can sneak strike them.
Oh, okay.
Use one of your big, powerful weapons. The silver moblins and silver lizzlefuls will go down in like 2 hits if you sneak strike them, right? So it's like you can easily spam enemy camps, and down on the depths, those are filled with zonite, right? And then you get just a few of those large zonites and you're pretty good, right? So I'm finding that's actually going a lot quicker than I thought. I'm up to 5 batteries now myself, and I'm not even like trying that hard to get the depths done, right? That's just kind of natural.
What is the max? Do you know?
I think it's 8.
Okay,
8 full batteries. I know there's something where it can like go through 8 and like go through another 8, and I don't know exactly how that works. But I've seen that in YouTube videos. So I don't really know all that. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to hijack your Tears.
Not at all. I think we should all. I'm sure we're all got comments on that. I already said everything about Splatoon when we talked about Splatoon, really.
Yeah.
I think for the most part.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess if I'm talking, I'll keep going a little bit on Tears of the Kingdom. I'm 90 hours into the game now, and I've only done 2 temples. So I'm really taking my time with this game. It's like every time I just did the water temple, which is fun, and I had a great time, and now I'm like, okay, let's do all this other shit I haven't done. So I just did like
David,
Laurel and...
We have to talk about your playing of the water temple and your arrow shots. There's that. Yeah. I mean, this is a spoiler, I guess, or like not really, but it's like a puzzle in the water temple where this thing is spinning at like insane speeds. Mm-hmm. And the strat you're supposed to use is the jump and shoot your arrow because it'll slow down time.
Make it into slow motion. Yeah, I totally forgot that was even a thing.
Great video of you just nailing it on your first try.
Yeah. I just went up there. I threw a choo-choo jelly at the thing to clear the thing off.
Yeah, because you have to do it twice. You have to slow down time twice if you want to do it. I mean, if you didn't,
it cleared it off, and then I was like, all right, I guess I'll try to shoot the thing, and I just shot it. So did you try to do that?
I tried to do exactly what you did for like 20 minutes and then realized that is not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to.
I got it first try. I guess I'm just incredibly lucky. I like did a frame perfect speed strat without realizing.
My son was so frustrated. He's like, "Let's quit this," and I'm like, "No, I'll figure this out. Because can't be that there has to be something I'm just not thinking of." And
sorry,
like,
son, but Dad's just not as good of a gamer as David.
Yeah, like I should have called David. He'd be like, "What do you mean? You just shoot the arrow?" Like,
yeah. Well, no, I saw it. So I watch a lot of like Tears of the Kingdom YouTube compilations on YouTube. It's a lot of it's just like big crazy builds, but some of it's just other funny moments or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, because that was in there. It's like, look at this incredibly lucky shot this guy got in the water temple. And I was like, oh, I guess you're not supposed to do it that way. It's like, I guess I was just incredibly lucky. But yeah, anyway, so what I've been, when I started the game, I just fucked around for a really long time and did a lot of the side content. Then I finally did the wind temple. Then I fucked around even more, and now I've done the water temple. So now I'm doing a lot of fucking around, right? I'm like, I'm doing a lot of the story stuff. I'm doing a lot of the memories. I did like Laurelin Village. I finally started like the Hateno side quest with the kind of fashionista and the mayoral race and stuff like that. That one's fun. So it's like, yeah. So I'm just getting to all the stuff that I haven't even touched. So I like playing it that way, right? It's like you're really kind of making the most of the buffalo here, where you're like kind of, doing a little bit of story in the main thing and then kind of filling out your time with the rest of it, which is a great way to grind up, Zonite and do everything and get all your shit that you really need, and I'm getting a lot more confident in battles and, and it's been a ton of fun. I have no idea what temple I'm going to do next. I'm slowing down like slightly on the game, but I'm definitely going to play it all the way through. But yeah, great stuff. And then I do have one other game that I've been playing that I want to shout out. I actually got a bunch of games on Steam recently. Like some of them I got through my work. We did a thing for League of Legends conversions. And so I ended up getting that game for free, but I haven't even touched it yet. But that game looks great. So I'm excited to play that. And some other games I got on Steam Deck as well. But I did finally pick up Vivid Loop, which is a game that I've been talking about for a bit. The demo came out for this a while ago. If you haven't played or even heard of Vivid Loop, definitely look it up, especially if you're a fan of like Dreamcast aesthetic. Like it's a kind of a top-down kind of puzzle game, sort of in the style of like, there's a game that it's really like that's not coming to me right now, but kind of reminds me of like a Choo Choo Rocket or something like that almost, but it's kind of got like platforming from top down, but the vibes in this game are super Dreamcast vibes. Like the graphics look like it could be Dreamcast graphics, and like the music and everything like that. And it's a really like fun and satisfying puzzle game that I've been really enjoying. That's actually really difficult too. And the developer is like well aware of its difficulty. I think within like 3 days patched in easy mode, which, after our discussion on your game about like making stuff easier, like, holy shit, like he just like made an easy mode like that. And it is really well balanced. I don't know how.
Way to make me look like an asshole.
Yeah. Right. Sorry about that.
I was talking about that guy. Not you.
No, I'm trying to make this guy look like an Ubermensch or something. I have no idea how he did it, but it's like, but no, Vivid Loop is really, really cool. Don't sleep on it if you like that style of game. I've been having a blast with that, but hopefully I'll play some more of these games that I've been building up while I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom and haven't had any time to play. But yeah, that's been basically what I've been playing. What about you, Summer? You've been playing anything cool recently?
Oh, it's just between trying to be able to play Tears of the Kingdom as much as I can in between all of the other just con crunch that I've had. The only other thing that I play, sometimes, because I like to play a game while I, eat lunch, and I can't really play Tears of the Kingdom while I'm eating very well, right? So that's what Fire Emblem is for. So
gotcha.
still very active with the mobile game, still getting through. There's a lot. I haven't quite figured out what the post-game content is in Echoes. I think it's like this endless dungeon that I just started to break into today. So I'm still even more. So the eShop closing down, man, like got me really active with my 3DS again. I'm getting street passes. I think other people feel the same way because I'm still getting street passes when I'm going to these events. And
cool.
I need somebody in New Hampshire to buy a 3DS so I can finally finish my map of the United States, because I have the territories and that's the only state I'm missing.
Wow. So. Well, this is the call to action.
Yes, please. If you live in New Hampshire, dear listener, please
walk fast.
Let's meet up.
Nice. Well, that does it then for this episode. Thanks, Summer, for coming on and joining us. Here's to hoping we might see a little more of you in the future.
Yeah, that might
very
be
good
something
chance.
that happens. Yeah, we'll see though. We'll see.
We'll see. Thanks to MilkyWay.co for doing our website. Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. If you're looking for me online, Patrick, I am PDYX.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Summer? Where can people find you online?
I am also pretty much everywhere at Weebwitched. That's WEEBWITCHED, like Bewitched, but I am a weeb.
There you go. Yep, you heard it here first. Check out Weebwitched online. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got a website, switchheads.com. And then we got a Facebook group and our Discord. Oh, for God's sake, come and join the Discord. We have such a good time in there. People are posting baby pics in the general chat. Congrats, by the way, to Swampy Southpaw for the brand new baby. It's not all baby pics, if that kind of thing turns you off. But there's a lot of really great discussion happening all the time. A lot of good game recommendations, and just one of the best communities on the whole internet. So join us over there. We'll have a link to both the Facebook group and the Discord in the description of this podcast episode. But other than that, gang, that's going to do it. Is there going to be an E3? We'll find out the moment this episode drops. And by E3, I mean direct. I got to stop saying that. E3 is definitely dead.
E3 is dead.
Yeah.
There will
Will
not be
Nintendo
an
Direct be co-opted by Jeff Keighley? That's what we'll find out. But other than that, gang, we're going to be back next week with an all-new episode. Might have some very special guests on that one, so make sure not to change your dial. Thank you, everybody, for the well wishes on the recovery, by the way. It's happening. It's a little bit crazier than I thought it was going to be, but I mean, look at me here, right? We're fucking doing it. So I really appreciate all the love and support. But other than that, gang, we're going to be back next week. So in the meantime, you know the drill. Stay safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. We love you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.